So Arisha, our good pal Britney Spears is back in the news today, and as usual, we're trying to sort it all out.
You know that famous Kris Jenner meme, this is a case for Rich and Daly?
Exactly. So Britney was staying at Hollywood's infamous Chateau Marmont. We get to say that again.
Thank God. Thank God.
She was there with her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Paul Soliz. When someone called 911 early yesterday morning, first responders treated her for an injury, but were not even remotely sure what happened at this point.
Yeah. And this is going to shock a lot of people, I know. So just everyone, sit down so you can hear this. There are conflicting reports about how Britney got injured. I know we don't have the whole story. This is shocking.
Yeah.
Some people, they're saying she got in a fight with Paul, but now Britney is speaking up with her side of the story. And in classic Britney fashion, she's leaving us with more questions than answers.
But we are hearing her talk in videos, and that's something.
Yep.
That could be a win, I'm just going to say.
We got to take them when we can get them,
Exactly. From Wondery, I'm Brooke Sifrin.
And I'm Arisha Skidmore-Williams. It's Friday, May 3rd, and a happy birthday to John Lloyd.
Happy birthday, John. And you're listening to Rich and Daily.
Paparazzi, rumors fly on top of the world on a diamond high.
So, Richies, we were literally just saying the other day that we haven't been talking about Britney that much lately.
This is my fault. I'm sorry.
It is your fault.
I never should have said it, and I should have knocked on wood, and I didn't. This is all on me.
I know. So obviously we spoke too soon because this week she is back in the news. On Tuesday, we talked about how she agreed to shell out about $2 million to her dad, failed gym owner Jamie Spears, for his conservatorship legal fees. And yesterday, she finalized her divorce from Sam Asghari. And then yesterday at about 1 a.m, she was at the center of a 911 call made to Chateau Marmont. And Britney was not there alone. She was with her on-again, off-again boyfriend. I don't know what else to call him, really. I guess boyfriend? Are they on?
Flavor of the week. That's what I used to call him.
Oh, love it. But she was there with Paul Soliz. And sources tell Page Six that Britney and Paul got into a fight at the Chateau late Wednesday night.
And the things apparently got so bad that an ambulance was called to the scene. Now, a rep for the LA Fire Department, who were the first responders, they told Page Six that the fire department received a call claiming that an adult female had been injured. They didn't say who made the call, and apparently the caller didn't offer up a ton of info about the injury either. Now, an ambulance was sent to the scene, but according to the fire department representative, it's not clear whether Britney received any treatment. Paparazzi were, of course, on the scene, and they caught Britney outside the chateau. And in the pictures, she's holding a pillow to her chest. It doesn't look like she has a top on.
She probably has a crop top on, if we know Britney.
I hope she doesn't. I don't like wearing clothes, and I want this to be something that just takes off. Clothes are a prison to our bodies.
All right.
But so she's holding a pillow to her chest, and she has a blanket wrapped around her shoulders, and Paul is by her side in some of the shots.
Yeah.
Now, a source tells Page Six that first responders left the scene without Britney, who went home to her house in Thousand Oaks with her security. The source also added that she was safe.
I gotta say, I have mixed feelings about even covering her on this show right now, because lately there have been a lot of paparazzi shots, like this one of her outside looking like she's not wearing clothes, and like the one of her in the car and she's very clearly covering her face. And I'm like,
if this is we're repeating,
we're getting right back to where we started. The paparazzi are up her ass. And it's like, I know that we have to cover like the biggest news story, but I'm a little conflicted about it, because it's like,
this is part of the problem.
Just let this woman live,
Yeah.
And those
it's one of
paparazzi
those
shots
things,
just take me back.
Yeah. And it's like, the paparazzi is 100% at fault, but they're taking the pictures because people are consuming these pictures.
Exactly.
If people weren't replying, they weren't commenting on posts, there was no engagement whatsoever, they weren't buying the magazines.
Yeah.
It would actually, it's like, we actually do have the power, but we're all like, oh, it's the paparazzi. And it's like, I'm not saying they're not at fault.
Yeah.
But there's a market for it, and the market is us. And so it's like, well,
I know. I do feel better because she spoke up about it publicly. So it's like, I do feel better talking about it, but I don't know. It's like, we're never going to learn anything.
Yeah, it really feels like we're back where we started.
Yeah.
Because I think I said to you, because I was like looking at that shot, it's like this literally feels like the 2007, 2005, 2006 shots of her, where it's like anytime I see paparazzi shots where the people are clearly trying to hide their face,
I know.
it's so disrespectful.
I know. Luckily, we're in the day of social media where there are a ton of comments being like, leave her alone, stop
Yeah.
taking pictures of her. And I
Yeah.
do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we don't really know much about Britney's alleged fight with Paul, but Britney is trying to shed some light on what happened. Yesterday, she used her favorite platform, trusty old Instagram, to set the record straight. And in true Britney fashion, her statement is a little all over the place. She starts off by squashing the rumors that last night's incident had anything to do with Paul. And she wrote, just to let people know, the news is fake. I would like respect at this time for people to understand I am getting stronger every day. Is that a quote of her own
It's like her
song? I was going to say.
Stronger.
Love that.
Then she says, PSS, not sure why I feel the need to share this. I guess I'm just a girl and I'm on my period, so I'm bitchy. Honestly, I've
Listen,
never related harder to her.
We've all been there. We've all been there.
The amount of times that I will have a reaction to something that's even more insane than normal, I have to check my tracker and I'm like, oh,
I know.
okay,
I
that's
know.
why. She goes on to say, I also twisted my ankle last night and paramedics showed up at my door illegally. They never came in my room, but I felt completely harassed. And then taking another classic left turn, Britney signs off her post with, I'm moving to Boston. Peace.
I will say, hold on, let me just play investigator for a second here.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm on my period, I'm clumsy as all hell. I'm sure people can relate. I don't know how many ankles I've twisted on my period. So that does back her claim of twisting her ankle out of nowhere. I mean,
I thought you were going to talk about Boston. And I was like, what do you normally say about Boston on your period
when I'm on my
going to be
period,
related?
I long for Boston.
Yeah,
I
I think
for
she's citing that song. I think I'm going to Boston. Think I'm going to start new.
She's got a lot of song quotes in this post.
Yeah. Well, she's a musician.
Yeah.
So then Britney posted another post, a follow-up post, and in it she shared 2 videos where she showed off her swollen ankle, and she starts by saying, I really twisted my ankle last night like an idiot. And then she walks us through what happened.
Fucking idiot here tries to do a leap in the living room at the chateau, and I fell. Embarrassed myself. And that's it. Paramedics came to my door illegally, of course, caused this huge scene, which was so unnecessary, and all I needed was ice.
That ankle does look rough.
So, in short, Britney's story is that she fell, twisted her ankle, and just needed some ice. Actually, she needs rice, rest, ice.
Oh my God.
Compression and elevation, which is what I'm supposed to be doing for my foot, but I'm not. But then in the caption to that video, things actually took another twist. She wrote, I know my mom was involved. I haven't talked to her in 6 months, and she called right after it happened before the news being out. So we don't know if Britney means that she thinks her mom tipped off the press or called 911, but then she says, I was set up just like she did way back when. I can't stand her. I honestly don't care. I will say it. Then there's a thumbs up emoji and a shrugging emoji and 3 more exclamation points.
I mean, listen, I understand why she would feel this way.
Especially
I could
from
see her family doing it. Like,
yeah.
You know?
I thought at first she was referring to her ankle, and I was like, was she at the Chateau Marmont and pulling a Nancy Kerrigan or something?
She saw Britney going for
or
a
Tanya
leap,
Harding?
and she put out her foot to trip her.
Yeah.
She's like, got her.
But yeah.
So it sounds like Britney's saying that Paul had nothing to do with her ankle, but apparently this clarification does not do much for some of her friends who don't want her hanging out with Paul. One source claiming to be a friend of hers told Page Six that Paul has been bad news from the start, and another friend describes Paul as extremely dangerous.
It sucks because I don't trust anybody that calls themselves a friend to Britney if they're talking to the press.
I know. Same.
So it's like, does she actually have any friends
I know.
that aren't just trying to exploit her? And
I know.
But here's why Britney's friends, and I'm going to use that with the heaviest quotes that exist, maybe a little concerned when it comes to Paul, because he does have a long rap sheet. Now, we talked about this back in August. We talked about his criminal record when he and Britney were first linked. He's been charged with multiple misdemeanors over the past 20 years. He even had a felony charge for possession of a firearm back in 2020, which landed him in jail for 90 days.
Yeah. He didn't kill anyone.
No.
So this day and age, it's like, well, at least he didn't kill anyone. It's like we're just grasping at straws.
I know.
for
What a world we live in.
something good.
Well, he didn't kill anyone. Great. That's how low this bar is. Don't murder and you're cream of the crop.
I know. So, Arisha, it looks like Britney is, I guess, maybe back with Paul. I don't know. And, now we got these reports of an alleged fight. What do you think about all this? What do you think is actually going on?
Listen, I'm going to die on this hill. Britney needs to escape to a real chateau, unbeknownst to
chateau.
everyone around her, and just be completely like on her own, away from everyone. Like, this is just, I mean, like you said, I'm glad that in the comment section, we're seeing more people say, leave her alone. Like, we didn't get that. We didn't have comment sections back then, but there's at least discourse about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's still happening, though, and it's just, I feel for her. Like, I feel like she's just still trapped in this cage, basically.
I know.
Of, like, she can't live her life authentically, whatever that means for her. And, I mean, she's just got so much shit to get through. And I don't know. Seeing those pictures was just very much, it was like, I don't want to use triggering because that's such a, it was a time warp of like, there's not really a difference between these pictures.
No, there's not. And you and I talked about this last night, how people are like, well, how's the Free Britney crowd feeling now? You guys wanted her out of that conservatorship, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we wanted her out of an abusive conservatorship.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference. Like,
There's a huge difference.
Maybe Britney needs someone around her to help her in some way. But that doesn't mean that the situation she was in was good. So it's like, let's stop. Like, two things can be true. It's like.
Yeah. I think that's a really important distinction to make.
Yeah.
That she was like in an abusive situation for years.
Yeah.
And has every right to not be in that.
Exactly. And I just, like you said, I just hope the tides turn at some point and she gets some people around her that actually care about her, because anybody that's around her, I immediately am like, they're taking advantage of her.
Basically, she needs somebody who like never goes on social media, couldn't care less about anything.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, that's just your dad and mine.
I can't think of two better people to help take care of Britney.
I honestly
can't
can't either. Look at us.
Look at us. We're perfect. From Wondery, I'm Brooke Sifrin.
And I'm Arisha Skidmore-Williams. This is Rich and Daily.
Have a great weekend, Richies.
See you Monday.
If you like our show, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you're listening right now.
Be sure to follow us on all socials at Arisha Skidmore-Williams and at Brooke Sifrin. We love to connect with you.